Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we begin to walk in this word, we find out that the things that man has set up is completely different than what Yahweh has set up. But man is, it can be quite confusing because man uses Yahweh's law and sets up some of the things that he has according to Yahweh's word. But then you'll find that eventually it takes a real sharp turn. I ended up in a courtroom this week and was supposed to be in and out, but Yahweh wouldn't let me go in and out because, you know, apparently he wanted me to see a few things and to see how many of our people are being thrown into this court system. I'm down there for one thing, and I asked the officer down there, was I in the right place? Because they was bringing in dudes shackled by the feet. Wait a minute, now I ain't supposed to be in here with the shackle. He said, yeah, well, we got two, name changes thrown in the midst of all of, these criminal trials. And I was first one on the list. But just to show you how Lucifer would toy with you, and Yahweh will let him toy with you to help you grow. I've filed all of these papers to make my name change official, and it was Israel. Understanding that Yahweh first told us, that he didn't give us Yahweh. He gave us El Shaddai, the holy part of El, and then Israel, having that in it. Out of all the papers I put on there that said Israel, when I got to get my final paper, it said Israel. I said, who is that? I said, y'all gonna take this back? So now I gotta sit through 27 other court cases. Yahweh, like, okay, no, you gonna sit here. So I had to sit through 27 other court cases and watch everybody stare, while all of this is going on, and you start to see what things were happening, and it was pretty interesting how they set us up with this paperwork and how they use, we consider, you hear people will bear false witness every day, but how they use these things against you in court is with paperwork. They end up having you state certain things, and then we hear these things all the time, and we don't consider that these things, that lying really is something that you can go to jail for. And to see these things happen, it was kind of funny that Yahweh made me sit through all of those things, and they're kind of tricking us in some of the things that they're doing, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But brother, would you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence.
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. Now, as Yahshua stated, you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So we have to understand that when we get pushed into these certain corners, and we decide that we are going to use Lucifer's invention of lying to get us out, then we of course owe him when we do that. There's a thing called royalties, and if you use something that somebody else wrote or something that they made, then they end up receiving a portion, sometimes a great portion, of whatever you made in that particular venue, because you used something that they created. And this says that Lucifer was the father of a lie. So these are things that we have to consider when watching these things in this courtroom. The interesting thing, as I was made to sit in this courtroom, if I had been the first case and been gone, I would have never seen some of the things that happened. Next thing you know, we look up, and it just happens to be a field trip day for a camp, and 40 kids walk in. So all of the kids didn't show up in the courtroom. So it was pretty interesting. And then of course, you know, you have to get up and state before everybody what you're doing. So all of these kids are sitting there, you know, looking at me, you know, say that I'm changing my name to Israel, and they're looking, you know, and it never should have been that many people in the court. There was like nowhere to sit in the courtroom. It was so packed. You know, I mean, it was really wow. I asked the officer, you know, hey man, am I in the same place? You got, you know, people over here shackled by the feet here, and I'm you know, they had already rescheduled my case, and he said, you know, yeah, you're in the right place. Then he walks back over to me. He said, hey, so what's your name gonna mean? I said, huh? He said, what's your new name? What does it mean? I said, Isaac is Hebrew for laughter. That's what Isaac means. Most people pronounce that Isaac. He said, oh, and went back and started talking to the other guards, the other sheriff guys in there. So I don't know what all a lot of times things happen concerning you, and it's not really concerning you. Yahweh is dealing, or if we are servants, right? Mm-hmm. So Yahweh is doing some things. Some things may be inconvenient for you, so that Yahweh can show some other people who he is. So some of the things we have to kind of roll with, because it's Yahweh doing that. And I know that in this society, everything is about how convenient things are for us. But when you become a servant of Yahweh, it's not about how convenient things are for you. Some of the greatest things will happen to you in inconvenience. And what you think is a problem, it ends up being the best growth thing for your life. Let's begin today's sermon in Revelation chapter 21. And we're going to read verses 5 through 8. Now, the whole hypocrisy of the setup of the court system was that they are convicting people on this thing of perjury, and they're setting these brothers up, and everything they ended up using was paperwork that they had either filed before, how they could prove that they were not telling the truth. But what I notice is each time, and I had read this before, so but this is, I guess, my first time being in a courtroom since knowing it, that there's certain things that they're going to do over and over again, and one of those things is they're going to ask you to state your name, and they never proceed without those certain things, and those things are for you to state you are agreeing that you are the person that is on that birth certificate, which is someone that they created, an all caps name, and that beginning part gives them jurisdiction, and you are agreeing to that jurisdiction when they ask you that, what is your name? They're not asking you if you are James Smith. They're asking you, are you the James Smith that we have on the birth certificate? This doesn't make sense if you don't understand certain parts of this word. We have gone over that you see the same word in this book that says Lord, L-O-R-D, but it's in all caps. That means Yahweh. One capital L-O-R-D is Yahshua. The same Lord, all lowercase, just means master or Adonai. But you notice it's the same word, right? But it means three different things. Okay, there's a difference between your name in all caps and your name in one capital letter, all the rest lowercase. That's you, the person. The all caps is the make-believe entity that they created with your birth certificate. You are agreeing in court that you are that person. That person is always subject to them. I've seen a video where a Gentile, when they asked him his name, he said, I'm going to spell it for you. James, capital J, lowercase a, lowercase m, lowercase e, lowercase s. Capital S, lowercase m, lowercase I, lowercase t, lowercase h. The people in the courtroom thought he was crazy. I know exactly what he was doing. I am not that guy, that entity that you created unknowingly to me, that my parents agreed to allow you to form a corporation called James Smith in my name. And I am agreeing that I am under all of the control of that certificate. That certificate is a certificate of title. You ever notice that a birth certificate looks just like the title that you have on your car? Well, they own you, just like you own the car. You get a usable title when you have a car. You only get the real title when you pay off the car. You don't own the car until you pay it off. Well, you get a title. That title looks just like your birth certificate. Where did you get the certificate from? So who got the real one then? They gave you what? Copy. You got a copy. So who owns? Who's in control? You are state property. Understand what that means. See, we have agreed to a whole lot of things not knowing it. This is part of what we have to understand in becoming a nation. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, on that birth certificate, it states this is a true copy of the one held by the state.
And if you turn it on the back, it's got little red numbers on it. If you can look up those numbers, you can find the account that was created in your name. Right. Everything you've ever heard was a lie. I know it's hard to believe the hairy-faced dude with the gold tooth. I know. I got it. But everything you've ever heard was a lie. You're just going to have to make some decisions. Revelation chapter 21, and let's read verses 5 through 8.
And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. But the fearful, and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Now, this is something that we're not used to dealing with, that a murderer is in the same place as a liar. Yahweh says that that lake of fire, they're going to have their same part in that. And you have to understand that there are certain situations where people set you up to lie. I had I've had 2 instances working on a job where a guy called me and actually gave me the lie to tell, you know, to try to see if I would, you know, take that lie. He was like, you know, so you at the job site yet? And I was like, no, I'm not there. He said, oh yeah, well, I'm, you know, because I was here, and well, then if you there, you know I ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
But see, he gave me the lie to tell, hoping that I would just go ahead and accept that lie. So it's one thing about telling a lie. You have to be ready when sometimes folks offer you a lie. I was offered the lie, hoping that I would take this easy way out, and he had already set me up. I had another one just happen a couple days ago. Well, we were given this little part to test out on some batteries, and this guy asked me about the part. So how well is that going for you, working with that? I said, you know, honestly, man, I haven't had an opportunity to use it. He said, yeah, well, I got a customer that's complaining about a low battery. I said, so what in the hell you try to set me up for? Try to ask me, and the whole thing was, yeah, that customer, you know, got a new battery. That's not what it is. But you have to just see how things are done. And if you don't know where you're going to stand, these little things are going to get you off. Now, when we look up in this New Testament what is written as a liar, it says G55:7:1, untrue, that is erroneous, deceitful, wicked, false. And when you get down to the root word of pseudomai, it is to utter an untruth or attempt to deceive by falsehood. There's a thing of writing under a pseudonym. Then you are doing this work under a false name or a pretend name. What we do is put down lies in our real name. That causes you, this is how they end up. They use all of this old paperwork. Everything that you sign or that you file, you need to have a copy of it somewhere. Those are the very things that will be ultimately used against you. The things that you have already put on paper, those are the things that will end up causing you issues. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 19. One of the sad things to see in how these things are set up, when you go into the courtroom, you see the most black officers that you've ever seen in your life. And what they are there to do is guard all the white people who are persecuting you. All the prosecutors are standing up front, so you're going to have to make it through 5, 6, 7 burly black dudes to get to the white dude who talking to you any old kind of way. The prosecutor and the judge, they are protected, and they basically use them like hitmen. It is absolutely a sad situation. And then all of the people that are getting shipped off look like us. And I know that they don't understand any of the legal process whatsoever, because they're agreeing. When they made a deal for one guy, he ended up making, they said, you understand that we're not bound by any agreement. You're entering into this plea. And he was like, yes, ma'am. So he's got to answer all of this. You are pleading guilty. You understand that you are waiving your right. And they start listing all of the rights that you're waiving. Our problem is when we go to court, we're only going for us when we go. So what happens is by the time you go, you're a little bit sensitive, because that's you. You should go when it's not you. And that way you can sit down and watch and listen to what's going on. I mean, you done went to a basketball game and you weren't playing basketball, right? Well, then you learned the game. You didn't learn the game while you was playing. You learn the game by watching other people play the game and see what happened when they did certain things. So if you end up having to go to court, why are you waiting till the day that you got to go to court? You should have been to court a week before. You need to be watching. Okay, when they say that, they mean this right here? Oh. So by the time you go in there, you should be comfortable. I already know, all right, that dude going to stand there. That dude going to do it. Okay, and then he going to move over here. And then she going to pass this piece of paper. You ought to know the whole process by then. Don't wait till the day that it's got something to do with you, and then you go and figure out what's happening. This is what throws us off. By the time that guy had said he was guilty, he had waived all his rights. Your right not to incriminate yourself. He had waived all his rights. You understand that you are pleading guilty? Yes. You do intend to plead guilty? Yes. You are pleading guilty? Yes. You know how hard that is to back out of? Ain't no backing out of that. So they setting it up each step of the way, and everybody knows the game except us. And this is very unfortunate, since it ends up being us that are punished mostly when it comes down to this. Deuteronomy chapter 19. Go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say, it's just like us sitting here Sabbath after Sabbath, class after class, learning Yahweh's law, statutes, and judgment. It's so that we understand, we become comfortable. So when we become in a position where, or we come into a position where Lucifer is twisting it around, we can twist it back.
Exactly.
Like he said, sitting in that courtroom, because what they end up doing is using your lack of ability of courtroom procedures against you. I've had the same situation where you write a statement, and believe me, when you go to court, they're bringing up what you wrote. And they're going to use that to see how confident you are. So if you've lied, it's going to go against you. Because in my situation, I'm sitting there, so they first say, well, tell me what happened on this day. They're not giving you the paper, but they've got the paper. And they're going down that paper as you're stating what you're stating. And then they came back and said, well, you just stated something about a chair. That's nowhere in your statement. So he's like, would you like to see your statement? So I kindly say, sure. Looked at the statement I gave back and say, no, I did not put that in my statement, but I'm letting you know today that that's what took place. That changed the whole course, because they thought I was going to sit there and go, They're going against your confidence.
And the difference of what we're dealing with, there is not going to be a separate law. The law that you're learning here is going to be the law of the land. It's going to be the law in the righteous kingdom. So you are your own lawyer. What you don't know is when you go into their courtroom, they have relationships with one another. When you pay a lawyer, you're just paying him that one time. This is a place that he works. He has to continually go back there. He's not going to lose his job for you. He got to keep dealing with those people. So you think that he's on your side. No, you're like the third one on the list. He's got to deal right with them first, because he's going to see them tomorrow and the day after that and the week after that and the month after that. He's never going to see you again. He's only dealing with you because you have paid him. When you learn to deal with this right, you won't have to get somebody else to help work out. When you get to a certain point, you may have to get some help. But for the most part, you should be able to know how something is supposed to go. And that's by going over what we have here. You can tell that they don't want us to know the law because they don't teach us out of 12 years of school or 13. We don't learn anything about law. You think that's a coincidence? You don't understand that that's by design? People want you to know law if they want you to follow it. That's the only reason to know it. Why do you think I'm reading this to you? Because I want you to follow it. Why do you think Yahweh has ordained every 7 years you gather the children of Israel together and you read the law? Why do you think he wants you to know it? So that you can follow it. Man doesn't tell you anything about his laws. Why do you think that is? Because he wants you to break it. Because he gets paid every time you do. Go ahead, bro.
Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 1. When Yahweh your Elohim hath cut off the nations whose land Yahweh your Elohim giveth you, and you succeeded them, and dwelleth in their cities and in their houses, you shall separate 3 cities for you in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your Elohim giveth you to possess it. You shall prepare you a way, and divide the coast of your land, which Yahweh your Elohim giveth you to inherit, into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the slayer.
Now, this is the danger of half reading something. If you just stop right there, well, there's 3 cities where the slayer can go. So if you kill somebody, you just go live in those cities. Now keep reading. Go ahead.
And this is the case of the slayer which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in time past.
Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, this means he did not try, whom he hated not in time past. Now let me tell you how that's going to work against this generation. Because this is the generation of tweeters and texters. Now, before they said, okay, did he have a problem with him? No. Now y'all problem is y'all done tweeted or text something. I can't stand James. I hate him. No, you know what? But we cool now. But they're not gonna get that text. They're gonna go back to that I hate him text. Now, this now shows that you at some point had some indignation against James. Now, that hammer flew off the end, the metal part, and hit him in the head. Now, we think you tried to do that. I ain't tried to do that. But see this text right here. You see this text right here? James is stupid. I cannot stand him. I hope he die. You in writing, you just gave probable cause for that situation now. See, we just go to typing whatever we feel. We just go to doing all of that, and we don't consider. You are writing that down. Those things never go away. Do you understand that they have every text that you've ever sent? And everybody like to send little crazy pictures of themselves. Right. That Verizon got all them pictures. Look at him. Oh my goodness. Look, he's so nasty. Right. Verizon got them. You thought you sent that to Keisha? Verizon got it too. Verizon and Keisha like, oh my goodness, he is nasty. Right. Right. Keep on. Go ahead.
Verse 5. As when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor, that he die. He shall flee into one of those cities and live.
Right. Now, this is a innocent situation. The thing flew off. But imagine if they got something in writing that you once had a problem with this brother. Now, did you go back in writing to explain how that was dealt with and you no longer have a problem? So if you got something in writing that said you had a problem, you might want to make sure you got something in writing to say that that problem was resolved. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer, while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in time past. Wherefore I command you, saying, you shall separate 3 cities for you. And if Yahweh your Elohim enlarge your coast, as he has sworn unto your fathers, and give you all the land which he promised to give unto your fathers, if you shall keep all these commandments to do them, which I command you this day, to love Yahweh your Elohim, and to walk ever in his ways, then shall you add 3 cities more for you beside these 3, that innocent blood be not shed in your land, which Yahweh your Elohim giveth you for an inheritance, and so blood be upon you.
Right. So these things is so that innocent blood, because the revenger of blood, if that was their family, remember, it was eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. This person hurt my family, I'm finna go hurt them. So Yahweh said, well, go ahead and put that person off here, off to the side for a while, so until the anger dies down in that person. Go ahead.
Verse 11, Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 11. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, and fleeth into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Your eyes shall not pity him, but you shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with you. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in your inheritance, which you shall inherit in the land that Yahweh your Elohim giveth you to possess it. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established.
At the mouth, one person can say anything. So Yahweh is trying to set a system of justice to where you can't just, I don't like that person. Because understand, we all get in our feelings, and them feelings seem real for the first 15 minutes that you in them feelings. Now what happened? Everybody mouth run in them first 15 minutes. Now what after that? And then after that thing takes shape and starts going, now should somebody's life be on the line just because one person said something? So the way Yahweh does things is he'll let the things happen over and over, even if it's only one person that saw it. Understand, that'll be one witness. They said, well, we can't do nothing to him. You know, it was only one witness. Wait, because they're going to do it again. And then they're going to have another one witness. And then another one witness. And that's how, believe you me, Yahweh confines gets the wise in their own craftiness. You ain't got to worry about that. Go ahead.
Verse 16. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
The judges shall make diligent inquisition. If you making diligent inquisition about a situation, then that means you are questioning the parties that are involved. That means you didn't just hear one person. You went to see, okay, what happened with this situation. You hear all the sides of that story. Go ahead.
And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and has testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother.
Now, this is what makes this a really different kind of law. All the rest of the laws, if you, let's say you stole something or you did something, then you have to restore that thing, add the 5th part thereto. You know, there was a set judgment for those things. This is one of the most just set aside laws in this book, because the judgment differs according to the intent of your lie. See, if your lie only meant for this person to lose some money, then you got to lose some money. If your lie meant that this person would end up losing their life, you got to lose your life. You realize you can die for lying? All depends on what that lie was going to do to the other individual. If that was going to ruin their name as a person, your name will be ruined as a person. Go ahead.
So shall you put the evil away from among you. Verse 20. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And your eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
Right. Righteous judgment. Okay, now let's go to Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6, and we're going to start that at verse 1. Okay, there's a seat down. Oh no, lay it over up there. We got a seat. Okay, we got it. Daniel chapter 6, and we're going to start that at verse 1. So remember, for any other thing that you did within the law, there was a set judgment. But for this particular thing, the judgment is different. Daniel chapter 6 and verse 1.
It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm.
Right, and this is where you're going to have the most problems. When you have a gift that other people don't have, they have a problem with you. Everybody ain't happy about your gift. You need to first understand that. Everybody ain't happy that you have the ability to do something. So this creates a problem. Go ahead.
Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom.
Right. That now they have a problem. So this then is premeditated issues that they have because they don't like his position. Because he's been promoted. Go ahead.
But they could find none occasion or fault. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his Elohim.
Right. You don't think people understand that about you? Let's see if why do you think people will set you up in trying to get you to commit to something before they fully explain it, or to get you to lie about something? You'll do me a favor? I don't know. What is it? Just tell me you're going to do me a favor. Now, why would I do that? Why would I agree that I'm going to do this favor for you? Now, you ain't told me what it is. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto the king, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors, and the princes, the counselors, and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree, that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
Knowing that this was a very faithful man, knowing that this man prays continually, now they're going to use man's law against him. Knowing that this is what he does, let's now make a law. See, you have to make a decision whether or not man's law is going to get you away from Yahweh's law. You have to make a decision. I will follow man's law until it ends up crossing where the law of my Elohim is. Well, then I'm not keeping that. You notice they used to in court, they said, do you swear? They changed that because enough people start saying, hey man, I don't swear. Because of, what's written in my Bible, I can't swear. Then they start, do you affirm? Do you agree that you keep thinking that you got to answer everything that somebody says? Ain't nobody told you got to answer. You have the right to remain silent. Why do you keep talking? This is your right. Shut up. And you keep talking, and everything you say is being written down. What do you think that little lady that's sitting over there in the courtroom doing? Like, everything you say is being typed. She's going to read that later. That is evidence against you. Stop talking.
Everything you say can be used against you.
Right. So, if you go in there and don't say nothing, what evidence do they have against you? These are the things that we don't consider. So, this here, they made up a law knowing that this was going to go against his culture, knowing this was going to go against what he was going to do, then this law was created. This is a law of the land. And people are always telling you, obey the laws of the land, obey the laws of the land. This was a law of the land that went directly against what his culture was. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 6 and verse 8. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed, and gave thanks before his Elohim, as he did aforetime.
He know what the reason was for. So let's, it is what it is. If I stop doing this, everybody in the kingdom is going to stop. They are looking at him. Go ahead.
Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his Elohim. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any Elohim or man within 30 days, save you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Yehuda, regardeth not you, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself.
Right, because they used his own vanity against him. While he was pushing this law, he didn't have anything against Daniel. His own vanity got him to this point. Now he's displeased with himself because he realized that they set him up. He the king. He has been set up with his own law. He has now set himself up to go against somebody that he likes. He did not dislike Daniel. But vanity is a very tricky thing. Go ahead.
And set his heart on Daniel to deliver him.
Right. Now you would say, hey, he the leader. He can just say no. Remember that whole part, the law of the Medes and the Persians that altereth not? They were setting him up from beginning to end with nice words. Now he got his friend getting thrown in the den of lions, and he meant him no harm. Go ahead.
And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is...
Now they gonna tell him what the law is after they done pushed him to make this stupid law. Go ahead.
That no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions.
Right. So they then made sure that the law was enforced. Grab this brother and throw him in there. Go ahead.
Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Your Elohim whom you service continually, he will deliver you. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his masters, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living Elohim, is your Elohim, whom you service continually, able to deliver you from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My Elohim hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before you, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his Elohim.
Now the whole purpose of this, they didn't like the position that he had, and if he was killed, then of course that would remove him from having this position in this legal arena. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them. and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, Peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the Elohim of Daniel.
Now, consider. Then you have to consider, why is this a righteous decree? With their falsehood that they set up, it automatically meant that this man's life was put on the line. Now, because this was a life thing, this is just lying, okay? But because it dealt with this man's life, now their life had to be put in jeopardy the same way their deceitful manner caused his life to be put in the balance and be weighed out. See, this is what makes this one of the most intricate laws of the Bible. Everything else has the same judgment. The judgment for being a false witness moves for whatever your intent was. That is a heavy situation. Just think about dying for lying. That's pretty heavy. Especially when you see people do it all day. People lie, there ain't no reason to lie. I just seen a car had 7 wheels on it. And what was the purpose of that lie? What were you going to get out of that lie? Was you going to lose your job if you told that lie? Was you going to lose some money? What did you gain out of telling that lie? Most of the lies is all about saving this right here, so that we look a certain way in front of certain people. We didn't get not one dime out the lie. We didn't get no new car out the lie. We didn't get no new house out the lie. We didn't get no new wife out the lie. Didn't get no new hub and all that. Still got the same old stuff you had. Just made you feel better for about 6 seconds. That's a long time to get thrown in the lake of fire for 6 seconds of uncomfortableness. Let's go to Numbers chapter 27. See, sometimes we forget what caused us to be ejected out of the land. We all the time want to go into and deal with all these deep things. Let's deal with this. Let's deal with that. Yahweh said, because you did not keep the Sabbath, the land ejected you out of it. The very commandments that we were supposed to keep, we want to be so deep. Man, just do what you're supposed to do.
Numbers chapter 27 and verse 1.
Yeah.
Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, all of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. And these are the names of his daughters, Mahlah, Noah, Haglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes and all the congregation, by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying.
Now, the first thing you see here in dealing with this, then came the daughters of Zelophehad. And then it starts giving you Zelophehad's lineage. Going, the son of, that would be the same as if we were reading Genesis and it was begat. That's just son of. Same thing. Such and such begat such and such. Such and such begat such and such. That is son of. That is the way the lineage goes. Then it starts talking and dealing with these daughters. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against Yahweh in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin and had no sons. Why should the name of our father be done away with from among his family, because he has no son? Give unto us therefore a possession among the brethren of our father. And Moshe brought their cause before Yahweh.
Moshe brought their cause before Yahweh. He didn't say, man, these just women. Ain't nobody going to Yahweh for this mess you talking about. What they're asking is not written in the law. But they came respectfully. They came lawfully. They didn't try to make no slick setup. Now you see what the men did to Daniel. They tried to devise a little slick setup. No, they came to the man in charge and respectfully came to him. I know that this is not in the law, but why should my father's name be put out? Moshe said, well, you know, you got an interesting point here. Let me go see what Yahweh say. Go ahead.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, the daughters of Zelophehad speak right. You shall surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren.
The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. No craftiness. Just coming correctly. Go ahead.
And you shall cause the inheritance of their father to pass on to them. And you shall speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a man die and have no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass on to his daughter. And if he have no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he have no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman that is next to him of his family, and he shall possess it, and it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as Yahweh commanded Moshe.
Right. So now we're talking about a law was added because these sisters respectfully dealt with this cause. No craftiness coming. This leaves my father's land out in the open. Now, what was said eventually as well is that those women, those daughters, they then were able to receive that inheritance, but they had to marry from within their father's tribe. Otherwise, the land jumps from tribe to tribe, and the land can't do that. Yahweh has already separated the land according to the tribes, so that when Yahweh gets ready to put the children of Israel back in the land, he has some people say the lost children of Israel. No, the children of Israel are not lost. The children of Israel are scattered. Yahweh knows each and every last one of us who we are. So when it comes time to put us back in that land, Yahweh knows where those people are supposed to be. And when he sets up those things, there won't be any jumping from tribe to tribe. You can't jump and marry somebody from this tribe. Why? Then the land ends up changing hands, dealing with all of those things. It says, if we go and keep reading, you'll see where Yahweh decreed those women have to marry within that tribe so that this land does not jump from tribe to tribe. Let's go to Joshua chapter 9.
Yahshua chapter 9 and verse 1. And it came to pass.
Say that again, bro.
Yahshua chapter 9 and verse 1.
See, a lot of people don't know that that's the English, if they had did the so-called translation of the Messiah's name, that's what it would have been. Joshua. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when all the kings which were on this side Jordan, in the hills, and in the valleys, and in all the coast of the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittite and the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Yahshua and with Israel with one accord. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard that what Yahshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willily, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, and wine bottles, old and rent, and bound up, and old shoes, and clotted upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread of their provision was dry and moldy.
That's one thing to tell a lie. It's something together all different to act out the lie. So now they got old clothes, they got moldy bread. So they got props for this lie. See? So this is acting. Yeah. Go ahead.
And they went to Yahshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him, and to the men of Israel, we be come from a far country, Now therefore make you a league with us.
Now, you heard that? We be come from a far country. That was the whole purpose of having on the old shoes and the molded bread to make it look like they had came so far. Go ahead.
And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, Peradventure you dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you? And they said unto Yahshua, We are your servants. And Yahshua said unto them, Who are you? And from whence come you?
Now, they said, we are your servants. So they had the props for the lie, and the lie, we are your servants. Go ahead.
And they said unto him, From a very far country your servants are come because of the name of Yahweh your Elohim. For we have heard the fame of him, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, Take victuals with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, We are your servants. Therefore now make you a league with us. This our bread we took hot for our provision out of our houses on the day we came forth to go on to you. But now, behold, it is dry and it is moldy.
Another lie. Go ahead.
And these bottles of wine, which we filled, were new, and behold, they be rent.
Another lie.
And these our garments and our shoes are become old by reason of the very long journey.
Another lie.
And the men took of their victuals, and asked not counsel at the mouth of Yahweh.
This is where we make our mistake. Who you ask? We just felt like, it just feel like this is a good thing to do. So, I'm looking. See, got your emotions in. They got their old shoes on. They got old molded bread. I feel so sorry for them. Let's go ahead and make this agreement. Who you talk to? You pray about anything? You just made that decision? Yahweh said go in there, get rid of all these people. Now these people have told you that they something else. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And Yahshua made peace with them, and made a league with them, to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swore unto them. And it came to pass at the end of 3 days after they had made a league with them, they heard that they were their neighbors, and that they dwelt among them.
Right. So all that other stuff was put on and lies. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel journeyed, and came unto their cities on the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, and Shepharah, and Beeroth, and Kirjath-jearim. And the children of Israel smote them not, because the princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by Yahweh Elohim of Israel, and all the congregation murmured against the princes.
Now, they are upset now because they are letting these people live. But they said, we have sworn by Yahweh our Elohim. Go ahead.
But all the princes said unto all the congregation, We have sworn unto them by Yahweh Elohim of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them. This we will do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us, because of the oath which we swear unto them. And the princes said unto them, Let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation, as the princes had promised them.
Right. They claimed that they were the servants. So the very lie that they told ended up being their future. They sealed, now they are forever servants to Israel. Go ahead.
And Yahshua called for them, and he spake unto them, saying, Wherefore have you beguiled us, saying, We are very far from you, when you dwell among us? Now therefore you are cursed, and there shall none of you be freed from being bondmen, and hewers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my Elohim.
You have to consider that as we get ready to enter into that land, as Yahweh ends up forcing us out into the wilderness and doing all of these things, destroying the daughter of Babylon with all of the great tribulation that has to happen. Understand, that means there are people that very well may end up going through all of those things with us, only to find out that they were a part of those people who were supposed to be servants of the temple. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And they answered Yahshua and said, Because it was certainly told your servants how that Yahweh Elohim commanded his servant Moshe to give you all the land and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you, therefore we were sore afraid of our lives because of you, and have done this thing. And now, behold, we are in your hand, As it seemeth good and right unto you, do unto us, do. And so did he unto them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, that they slew them not. And Yahshua made them that day hewers of wood and drawers of water for the congregation, and for all the altar of Yahweh, even unto this day in the place which he should choose.
Right. So this is a perpetual servitude because of the things. But you saw that the leaders and the princes had to stop the children of Israel from killing them. They were ready to go to town on them. So there has to be some kind of standard that says, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to go against the word of Yahweh because you feel uncomfortable right now. We did something, we did it out of order, but this is the way this has to go down now. We don't go out of order again because we went out of order the first time. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 7. Now, concerning this very thing here, we're gonna read something and see what this says. Brother Eliel. Is there anybody that does not have a Bible trivia sheet? Okay, Nehemiah chapter 7. And understand, we know what our Bible trivia is only for us to get used to speaking this word, so that these things are not foreign unto us. It's one thing to watch somebody else read the word and deal with it, but when you learn something by putting your hands in it, you don't learn by constantly being dealing with it in a passive manner. You can watch basketball all day. You know certain things about it, but you realize when you try to do it, hey man, it's hard to jump from that free throw line and just float down and dunk that ball. That thing look regular on TV after you see like 5 dudes do it. But when you try it, you realize, hey, you know what? This ain't for me, bro. This ain't. I jumped from the free throw line and I landed on the other side of the free throw line. This ain't my cup of tea. You learn that by doing it, but if you keep watching it, you think it's easier, or you think that it's just going to be dealt with in a certain manner. When we were little, we used to watch that Kung Fu Gold when we were little. But you couldn't tell me I ain't no Kung Fu when I came outside. But I used to watch that Kung Fu Gold and it'd be 12 little kids like that, wah, 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 wah. But we just thought we'd do something. We couldn't figure out how he would jump and land in that on top of that tree. Just jump. I figured out later when I was older that he was jumping out the tree and they just bagged it up. Cause he just hopped and he ended up in the tree. I was like, man, that's a bad dude. I can't wait to learn how to do that. Yeah, then I figured out, man, that was a trick of the camera right there. You know how many times I tried to jump and realized I wasn't never gonna get in that tree? Right. It's different when you exercise it with your own hands. Nehemiah chapter 7, let's read verses 1 through 6.
Now it came to pass, when the wall was built, and I had set up the doors, and the porters and singers and the Levites were appointed, that I gave my brother Hanani, and Hananiah the ruler of the palace, charge over Jerusalem, for he was a faithful man, and feared Elohim above many. And I said unto them, let not the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun be hot. And while they stand by, let them shut the doors, and bar them, and appoint watches of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, every one in his watch, and every one to be over against his house. Now the city was large and great, but the people were few therein, and the houses were not built. And my Elohim put into mine heart to gather together the nobles, and the rulers, and the people, that they might be reckoned by genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of them which came up at the first, and found written therein, these are the children of the province that went up out of the captivity of those that had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away, and came again to Jerusalem and to Yehuda, everyone unto his city.
Right. And Elohim put it into my heart to gather together the nobles. And when it comes down to that time, believe you me, Yahweh has already ordered these things. And now going through all of this, it's giving you that lineage of those men. Jump to verse 60.
Nehemiah chapter 7 and verse 60. All the Nethinims.
Okay, stop. What's a Nethinim?
The hewers and the drawers of water.
The definition of a Nethinim, one given. That is the Nethinim or temple servants. Who were set to be temple servants? The Gibeonites. The people who were just, they ended up tricking, getting in. They were made servants. Nethinim are servants. So now when it goes time, understand. So that means even as the children of Israel was punished, the servants were punished too. So now things are getting ready to go back in. They're still, all of these things, they have the genealogy. They have a list of all of those things. Go ahead.
All the Nethinims and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. And these were they which went up also from Tilmelel to Tel-Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer, but they could not show their father's house, nor their seed, whether they were of Israel. The children of Delaiah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekad, 642. And of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Kaz, the children of Barzillai, which took one of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, to wife, and was called after their name.
Right. Another little slick thing. This is one of these very things that you hear people saying that they are, I'm Jewish through my mother. There ain't no such animal. All you ever hear is begat, begat, son of, son of. So, married one of the daughters, and then was called after their name. Go ahead.
These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but it was not found.
Right, because it can't be found among a daughter. It has to be found amongst a son. So the whole premise behind the people that are in Israel telling you that they are Jewish through their mother, it is not possible. There is absolutely nothing in the Torah that agrees with being Jewish. First of all, you're not Jewish. Ish mean like. You're not Jew-like. You are a Jew. You are of Yehuda. So you're not Yehuda-like. You're not Yehuda-ish. But there's no such animal as being Yehuda through my mother. Go ahead.
Therefore were they, as polluted, put from the priesthood.
All right. Let's go to Judges chapter 11.
Judges chapter 11 and verse 1. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot, and Gilead begot Jephthah.
Now, you have to see how Israel deals with this, because the funny thing is how you have people that say that they believe in the Torah, and then saying that they are Jewish through their mother, and then you read in, antiquity and how our people dealt with things, you'll see how far they were completely against this whole setup of the things that they claim today. And we allow people to just sit right there and tell us that. We had just mentioned a couple Sabbaths ago about how Drake was doing an interview and telling people that, you know, he was Jewish, and he was Jewish through his mother, because his father is actually black. His mother is supposed to be Jewish. Now the twisted mindset is he's actually a real Jew through his father, but claiming to be a fake Jew through his mother. Now that, my friend, is twisted. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, You shall not inherit in our father's house, for you art the son of a strange woman.
Right. So the very thing, I'm Jewish through my mother, they actually have a problem with him because they say, your mama ain't Israel. Now his dad is, but they still have a problem because the mama and the daddy is not. Go ahead.
Then Jephthah fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain men to Jephthah, and went out with him. And it came to pass in process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob.
That's the same dude they ran away now.
And they said unto Jephthah, Come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon.
Right. You'll find a lot of people friendly, man, when they need something. Oh, man, let them get in a bind, man. They call you all kinds of things, you bastard. Because that's according to what this is. They call a bastard was one that had a strange mother. See, he was Israel father, but he wasn't Israel mother. So they make all kind of names again. But now they need something. Here come their friendship. You need to beware. Everybody that smile at you is not your friend. And everybody that frown at you is not your enemy. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, Did not you hate me, and expel me out of my father's house? And why are you come unto me now when you are in distress?
Mm-hmm.
And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, Therefore we turn again to you now, that you may go with us, and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, If you bring me home again to fight against the children of Ammon, and Yahweh deliver them before me, shall I be your head? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, Yahweh be witness between us, if we do not so according to your words. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and captain over them. And Jephthah uttered all his words before Yahweh in Mizpah.
All right, now, he has suffered, you know, and had to run away because of these very people. But then when they were in need, they called him. And sometimes the emotion from a situation can make you go just a little bit too far. Now, he is justified up to this point. Go ahead.
And Jephthah sent messengers unto the king of the children of Ammon, saying, What have you to do with me, that you are come against me to fight in my land? And the king of the children of Ammon answered unto the messengers of Jephthah, Because Israel took away my land when they came up out of Egypt, from Arnon even to Jabbok, and unto Jordan. Now therefore restore those lands again peaceably. And Jephthah sent messengers again unto the king of the children of Ammon, and said unto them, Thus saith Jephthah, Israel took not away the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. But when Israel came up from Egypt, and walked through the wilderness unto the Red Sea, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, Let me, I pray you, pass through your land. But the king of Edom would not hearken thereto. And in like manner they sent unto the king of Moab, but he would not consent. And Israel abode in Kadesh. Then they went along through the wilderness, and compassed the land of Edom, and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab, and pitched on the other side of Arnon, but came not within the border of Moab, for Arnon was the border of Moab. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon, and Israel said unto them, Let us pass, we pray you, through your land into my place.
Now, you notice this brother knows all the history concerning all of this land mass and this land border. He understands all of that. they accuse him of taking something, and he's giving the rundown bit by bit as to what really happened. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 11 and verse 20. But Sihon trusted not Israel to pass through his coast. But Sihon gathered all his people together and pitched in Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Yahweh Elohim of Israel delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they smote them. So Israel possessed all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that country. And they possessed all the coast of the Amorites, from Arnon even unto Jabbok, and from the wilderness even unto Jordan. So now Yahweh Elohim of Israel had dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. And shouldn't you possess it? Will not you possess that which Chemosh, your God, giveth you to possess? So whomsoever Yahweh our Elohim shall deliver out from before us, them will we possess. And now are you anything better than Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever strive against Israel, or did he ever fight against them? While Israel dwelt in Heshbon and her towns, and in Arar and her towns, and in all the cities that be along by the coast of Arnon, 300 years. Why therefore did you not recover them within that time?
300 years. So understand what the oral tradition and the writing down, the telling of these stories, how valuable they are. See, we can't even go back 10, 15 years and tell some of the stories of what happened in our families. Because our families, a lot of us have been told, you know, you take that to the grave, don't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? We call him Uncle Daddy because that's your uncle, but he really your daddy. What? Who is Uncle Daddy? Right. So we was told, take that to the grave. They told all of this stuff. This stuff was able to be said again all these many years later. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Wherefore I have not sinned against you, but you did me wrong to war against me. Yahweh be the judge. Yahweh the judge be judged this day between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. Howbeit the king of the children of Ammon hearkened not unto the words of Jephthah which he sent him. Then the spirit of Yahweh came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto Yahweh, and said, If you shall without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be Yahweh's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
Now you need to first of all consider every word that proceeds out of your mouth when you make a vow. Now the key part of this vow is that it shall be, in verse 31, that whatsoever come forth of the doors of my house to meet me. All right, go ahead.
Verse 32. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahweh delivered them into his hand. And he smote them from Arar even till you come to Burneth, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and, behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Beside her he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes.
He rent his clothes because now he realizes what this vow that he did not really specify. He said, whatsoever cometh out the doors to meet him. He didn't mean he meant animal. He was talking about making a sacrifice, but he didn't clarify that. See, this is how the words of a contract are very, very important when you get ready to sign your name to it. He said, whatsoever cometh out to meet him. He didn't know it was going to be his daughter. That's not what he meant. But that's what he said. Go ahead.
And said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto Yahweh, and I cannot go back.
You see how our people honor covenants? Man, we make covenants and we'll throw it to the dogs 3 seconds later. We'll make a vow. Yeah, man, I'll be there. I'm going to help you do that, brother. Call him. He ain't answering the phone. Wait, man, I thought you said you told me you were going to help me, man. I was counting on you helping me. Right. See, it's this little thing that we hear people say, and we say all the time. Yah's will, I will do such and such. See, first of all, you're not in control of what's going to happen between today and tomorrow. So, even if we are in agreement that we are going to meet up and both of us are going to help you work on your car. Yah's will, brother, I plan on helping you with that car tomorrow. Because I don't know what's going to happen between today and tomorrow. And I may agree that I'm going to be there. But just like what happened when I thought, hey, I was the first thing on the courtroom agenda. I didn't end up leaving out of there till hours later. Yahweh wanted me to watch some stuff. Yahweh wanted me to do something else. You don't know what Yahweh got planned for you. You get up in the morning with your grandiose plan of what you have for yourself. You got to realize something. You don't run nothing but your mouth. That's all you in control. And half the time, you don't even know what the hell coming out of that. If Yahweh has already decreed, Yahweh might have been working on something for 3 months for you to be at a certain place and might be to minister to a certain person. But you plan on being over there. You think he cares something about your plan? He been waiting for 3 months to prepare this meeting for you and this person so you can deliver some of the word that he has been giving you. Now it's your turn to give to somebody who's less fortunate than you. They haven't heard the word like you've heard it. So we have to learn when we agree to something that we agree with the stipulation, Yahweh's will. I plan to do this. With everything in me, I plan on doing this. Yah's will, I'll be there. Because I don't know what he's going to do with me. See, if I'm claiming that I'm in control, then I ain't a servant no more then. Then I'm Yahweh. If I can dictate my own steps and I can tell you exactly what's going to happen tomorrow, I ain't Esau. I'm Yahweh. Then that ain't going to work. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 11 and verse 36. And she said unto him, My father, if you have opened your mouth unto Yahweh, do to me according to that which has proceeded out of your mouth.
Now see, that's somebody who was raised in the truth. See? Now you see how she automatically consent? We know we had to chase our children all around the place, telling them some mess like that. Well, I told Yahweh I was going to offer. But that between you and Yahweh, I'm out of here. You know? Hey, man, you crazy? You would have to chase them all around the city. Yahweh, I'm still trying to find my son. I had told you I was going to offer him, but I can't find him. Hey, boy, they cutting out. This little girl automatically consent. If you have opened your mouth unto Yahweh, do that what have proceeded out of your mouth. And let's see how she knows that. Let's go to Numbers chapter 30. See, when you have a culture, then it is not strange the things of the culture. See, the things of the culture is strange when you've learned the things of Babylon. So then when you hear the things of our culture, oh, they seem strange unto you. No, you've learned the wrong thing. So now you think your culture is strange. Your culture ain't strange. Their culture is strange. You've let them give you low self-esteem about what was given unto you. Numbers chapter 30, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
And Moshe spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Yahweh had commanded. If a man vow a vow unto Yahweh, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeded out of his mouth.
And knowing that every 7 years they were supposed to get together and read out of this law, this little girl already understood, Daddy, you need to do that which have proceeded out of your mouth. Go ahead.
If a woman also vow a vow unto Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand.
Right, so the father has, if she stays with the father has the right to disannul that vow. If he disannuls that vow, she is not even held to that which she has agreed to. That was given as protection for the woman. Go ahead.
But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her.
Right. Go ahead.
And if she had at all an husband, when she vowed or uttered aught out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand.
Right. If her husband heard it, now first it's the father, then it's go to the husband if she's married. If her husband hears her vow, and he doesn't say anything, then her vows stand. So you walk around the corner and you hear your wife saying, yeah, I'll make some curry chicken for the congregation. You know your wife don't know how to make curry chicken. You better get up in there. Hey, hold up. Hey, hold up. You don't know a damn thing about no curry. Come here. Hey, look at what we'll do. We give y'all some fried chicken. Hey, you better come up in there and get in there. Hey, baby, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You know she don't know how to cook. You better get in there. Hey, look here. What we gonna do, we gonna pick up some churches. And we gonna drop off some churches. Look, cause then my wife, I love her, but her cooking make the dogs run out. Look here. We ain't gonna be able to do this here. Hey, you know the limitations of your house. You better jump in there. Because what? That not only that saves your wife. She is not now held as a liar. Because he has the right to disannul the vow. Why do you think the woman at the well said, sir, give me this water that I thirst not? The very next thing that Christ said was what? No, he didn't ask for the, he says what? Because this was a grown woman. He said what? Husband. Where's your husband? Why do you think he did that? You think he did that just to do it? No, the order of the vow. He has the right to disannul the vow. So before you start talking to me about entering into this vow, let me talk to your husband. She said, I have no husband. You have well said that what you have said. Boom. So now he knows how this thing can proceed. But why would we even keep talking if I know that this contract that we are about to enter in can be null and void? Let's go ahead and get the person here who can null and void the contract. So that way, once he hear it and he does not disannul it
when he heard it, the day
when he heard it. So if he is present, he hears it, he does not go against it the day he heard it, he can't come back 3 months later. That's not how that works. Consider that. That's why it's weight placed on husbands. See? Folks ready to be married, but they ain't ready to be husbands and wives. No, you have to man, I know some brothers that won't even answer nothing. They let their wives do anything because they think, hey, that frees me from liability if she make all the decisions. No, that just means she gonna make all the decisions and Yahweh gonna come looking for your tail to put his foot in. That's all that means. You can let her make all of them you want. If she make the wrong one, Yahweh gonna be looking for your tail to put his foot in. Hey, well, y'all seen something? Y'all seen something? Tell me Yahweh looking for. Oh, that ain't gonna be pretty. I don't care who said what. Who said it all? Okay. Did you hear her when she said such and such? Yeah. Did you say anything? No. We got dance lit. You hear that music? That's our dancing music. Me and you about to dance. Simple as that. Ain't no talk. You understood what thus says Yahweh. You either deal with it or you're not going to deal with it. But at the end of the day, Yahweh going to deal with it. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that up?
Numbers chapter 30 and verse 8. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect. and Yahweh shall forgive her.
Yahweh shall forgive her. She is forgiven. You see the power that a husband has concerning his wife, but only if he walks in it. See, these are things that women need to be thinking about when they're getting married. Is this brother going to open his mouth when he's supposed to open his mouth? See, we want to get married first and then start asking questions. Hey, it's too late to ask all them questions now, sweetie. You should have been asking them questions before. You was, I do. Oh my goodness, I love him. Oh, he's so fine. Oh my goodness. It don't matter what he is now. You don't agree. You don't enter into a covenant. Now you want to ask questions about how he deals in righteousness? It's too late now. You don't enter into a covenant. So every time something stupid happens, say that same thing that you said when you got married. Oh, he's so fine. We getting kicked out of the house. Oh, he's so fine. He refused to keep a job. Oh, he's so fine. Just keep saying that same stupid stuff to yourself over and over. Every time. This man will not get up and go to work in the morning. Oh, he's so fine. Keep on. Just keep saying it over and over. Because that's what got you into that mess. There's some thoughts that's supposed to happen beforehand. A covenant is a serious thing. You don't just make that just because it seemed like a good thing to do at the time. Let's go elope. Let's go to Vegas. Shoot some crap and get married. You finish that, brother.
Verse 9. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their soul, shall stand against her.
Every vow of a widow, because she doesn't have a husband. Her father is old. If she have vowed, every vow of her shall stand. Garrett, go ahead.
And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand.
Now, this is every vow of a widow and of a divorced woman. A divorced woman doesn't have the opportunity to get out of a vow. She makes a vow, it must stand. Go ahead.
But if her husband has utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and Yahweh shall forgive her.
Right. A lot of times we praying for Yahweh to forgive a situation, and we have the opportunity to give forgiveness in that situation. Check that out. Go ahead.
Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he established all her vows, all her bonds, which are upon her. He confirmeth them, because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them.
He confirms them because he kept his mouth shut. Before you get all into this and that with a man, have you asked this man, how much do you pray? Do you pray? Do you ever pray to Yahweh? Are you a praying man?
No, well, I mean, I pray on people sometimes.
Right. Now you wonder why you in it. Right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19, and let's start that at verse 16.
Verse 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why calleth you me good? There is none good but one, that is Elohim. But if you will enter into life, keep the commandments. He saith unto him, Which? Yahshua said, You shall do no murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness.
Now, once again, we find this murder, as we started with. It put murder, when all of these people getting thrown in the lake of fire, it has murder right there with bearing false witness. And we don't consider how weighty of a thing that is. Go ahead.
Honor your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
And what people don't understand is it takes the full understanding of Yahweh's law to be able to do all this. See, folks say, well, all you got to do is keep a couple commandments. See, just commandments, Christ mentioned right there. You know how many things are contained in love your neighbor as yourself, and to really honor thy father and thy mother? If you have a father naturally, you have a father spiritually. Do you know what that takes? If you honor your Father which art in heaven, do you understand what that means? If you honoring him, then you keeping those holy days. If you honoring him, then you are walking in a way that causes his name not to be blasphemed. You can't tell people, yeah, I'm an Israelite, and then go cuss everybody out on the corner. And people like, you Israel? You just got to cussing out. You got them folks that say they Israel and they got, the megaphone Hebrews. They sit on the corner and cuss everybody out. Then they said, we Israel. That's what people be expecting when you turn around and say you an Israelite. They be like, you got a megaphone? No, man, I ain't got no megaphone, bruh. I do not have a megaphone. Do you cuss women out on the street? No, I do not, brother. I do not do that. But that's the videos that they see. Go ahead.
Verse 20. The young man saith unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Yahshua said unto him, if you will be perfect, go and sell all that you have, and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me.
Come and follow me. Go ahead.
But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then said Yahshua unto his disciples, verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Elohim.
Right, because he trusts in his riches. Go ahead.
When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, who then can be saved? But Yahshua beheld them, and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with Elohim all things are possible. Then answered Cephas and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all, and followed you. What shall we have therefore? And Yahshua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that you which have followed me, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that has forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake.
Understand, you may have to forsake all of those things. Houses, brethren, sisters, father, mother, wife, or children, or lands, for his name's sake, because you might not be able to attain unto your salvation with all of those people around you. He says, gather me together my saints, those who have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. What's your sacrifice? What are you giving up? We don't have to give up our lives physically, but what have you given up for the sake of the gospel? What have you given up? Go ahead.
Shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that were first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 6. Proverbs chapter 6, and let's start that at verse 16.
Verse 16. These 6 things does Yahweh hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood.
And consider, this says, first thing we hear all the time, especially in the Christian dogma of God is love. And you keep hearing that when it starts talking about righteous judgment. This is why you'll never hear anything read out of Revelation. Because Revelation is all about judgment, and people who want to sing to God his love song, it's hard for them to sing that and still deal with judgment. That's why they got to deal with the rapture, so that, okay, he's going to judge, but you won't have to worry about it, because you're going to float up in the air, because he is love, and he going to love you in the clouds. Right. So you need to be separated from his judgment. This is this thing. So it's hard for them to reconcile these things of what Yahweh hates. See? They can't put those things together. So this make-believe thing has to come up. Our emotions come to us from Yahweh. It's our job to learn how to control those emotions, and flesh makes it worse. Yahweh is a spirit. He says he loves. He said he gets angry. He says he gets jealous. And he said he hate. He said, Jacob have I loved and Esau have I hated. So what part? God is love. He's got emotions. Where do you think you got him from? He said, let us make man in our image. Where do you think you got him from? So we want to make him we want to make him perfect according to our definition of perfect. You don't get to decide what perfect is. Go ahead.
Verse 18. An heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift into running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies.
Now look at this. It says 6 things that he hates. 7 are abomination unto him. He mentioned lying and false witnesses. That whole thing come up twice. Go ahead.
A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. My son, keep your father's commandment, and forsake not the law of your mother.
Keep your father's commandment, and if you forsake not the law of your mother, Yahweh is your father, your mother is the church. Did you forsake the law of your mother? Did you keep your father's commandment? They go hand in hand. But we don't consider that. See, the church can't make an ordination that goes outside of what the word says. Understand what's happening here. The law of your mother cannot go over the commandment of your father. Who's the head of the house? So Yahweh is the father. The church can't come in and say, you know what? You can't do such and such. Wait a minute, I'm going to need you to show me that in the book. Because see, this is the law of the mother. I understand that you're in control of the church. But my father's in control of the whole house. So you got to be able to show me that in the book. If you're going to make this ordination that's saying, oh, we can't do this here, or we can't do that here. Okay, that's fine and dandy. Just show me this is the law of my mother. Show me the commandment of my father that coincides with. Go ahead.
Verse 21. Bind them continually upon your heart, and tie them about your neck. When you goeth, it shall lead you. When you sleepeth, it shall keep you. And when you awaketh, it shall talk with you.
You understand that this is a spiritual thing, right? When you go, it shall lead. Bind them continually upon your heart, and tie them about your neck. You don't really have to tie the commandments around your neck. All right? All right? But if that's what you have to have for you to remember, thou shalt not bear false witness. If you got to tie that on your neck and just look at it, thou shalt not bear false witness. If that's what it takes for you to stop lying, then you go ahead and get you a necklace of the commandments and just tie them all on your neck and just walk around with the commandments on your neck. If that's what it takes for you to walk right. But understand, that's a spiritual thing. Go ahead.
For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep you from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in your heart.
Right. That strange woman, she got a house on every corner, luring you in. Come to go to church here. You ain't got to worry about that old mean God. Come here, come here. Psst, psst. Right. You ain't got to worry about no laws. Psst, we threw that out. Yeah. Go ahead.
Neither let her take you with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread.
She's a whorish woman. She worships every god in there. She keeps all those holidays, which are all odes to pagan gods. That's a whore. She worships everything. And but she looks so beautiful. Look at her parking lot. Is that a Benz? Is that spaceship Benz? Right. Go ahead.
And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burnt? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burnt? So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her, shall not be innocent.
Right. These things are not exercised in the church because they have divorce after divorce after divorce, and the only thing they count is the person that they are with at that particular time. They count that one that they with right then. They don't count the 5, 6, 7 that they had before that. That's how Yahshua gonna count. So you need to be worried about his count. Nah, you gonna count. Nobody care. You ain't in charge of nothing. Nobody care about how you count. Go ahead.
Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whosoever committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that does it destroyeth his own soul.
All right, let's go to Psalm chapter 62. Psalm 62.
Somebody write a song, love the one you with.
Hmm?
Somebody write a song, love the one you with.
Hey, man, that's the kind of stuff we was brought up with. You know, just deal with the one you with. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about all that other stuff. Yet Yahshua asked that woman about who is her husband. Where's her husband? He said, you well said that, but you said, for you have 5 husbands. We don't want to count that. We said, no. Don't none of that count. There's going to be a whole lot of hurt feelings with people in that Jesus doctrine. When Yahshua comes, first of all, half of them going to pass out when they see a brother with dreads. Okay, that half of them dead right off the rip. Because they don't see that blue-eyed dude that look like Joel Osteen. That right there is automatically going to deal with him. Then when he actually starts, it says he will slay with the words of his mouth. What do you think coming out of his mouth? The righteousness of this law. What came out of his mouth when he was here? The righteousness of the law. What do you think is slaying people? The righteousness of the law. Because they've been told that they don't have to deal with any of this stuff. So when it starts to come forth, they are cut to the bone. Because they have been given this make-believe thing that everything is going to be all right, and they don't have to worry about all of this stuff. And then when it comes, here's the thing. If you do all of this, and it's not necessary, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that the Christian doctrine is right. Y'all know we could slide into the kingdom. We ain't got to worry about it. We skating into, if the Christian doctrine is right, boy, we skating like roller skating. Boy, I'm gonna turn around and skate backwards. We straight. But if we right, boy, there's a whole lot of people in trouble. According to what's in this book, it's a whole lot of people in trouble. Because I've examined their doctrine. Their doctrine not in this book. That's the problem. But we all carry the same book. So if we all carry the same book, how is it that there are so many different opinions about what's in here? See, the scripture is not up to private interpretation. That's why you have to read 4, 5, 6 different places to make sure you understand what is being said. That's what these stories are in here for. People be skipping the stories. No. The stories help give you understanding of the other things that are written. See, when you see what this brother did with this vow, then you go back and read Numbers 30. It makes sense why the daughter said, Daddy, do that which had proceeded out of your mouth. Why would she just say that just to be saying it? Because she understands the culture. Go ahead.
Psalm 62 and verse 1. Truly my soul waiteth upon Elohim. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will you imagine mischief against a man? You shall be slain, all of you. As a bowing wall shall you be, and as a tottering fence.
Right. How long will you imagine mischief against a man? If somebody has done wrong to you, this means that they have committed something against what was written. Did they commit something against you, or did they just do something that you didn't like? What you don't like does not constitute a sin. I didn't like that brother did such and such. Did he sin against you? Now, it says that we are supposed to automatically have peace with one another. There's a covenant of peace between two people who do not know each other. If you have been mean to somebody and you just met them, yeah, you did do something wrong with them. You have broken the covenant of peace. There's automatically supposed to be a covenant of peace between two people, and neither one of them have done anything against one another. That person ain't did nothing to you. You haven't done anything to them. If you meet that person and you automatically have some kind of aggression toward that person, you have broken the covenant of peace. What did they do to you? Then you are convinced as guilty according to the law. But if that person just did something that you didn't like, they wore a color you didn't like, how they sin against you? Because you like red and they got on blue. Go ahead.
Verse 4. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency.
Uh-huh.
They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. My soul waits you only upon Elohim, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In Elohim is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in Elohim. Trust in him at all times. You people, pour out your heart before him. Elohim is a refuge for us.
Pour out your heart. That means when you pray, pray honestly. Don't pray leaving stuff out. Pray honestly. Pour out your heart to your Elohim. He is our Elohim in all the things that we call upon him for. What do you call upon him? And when you call upon him, do you just do it in this repetitive nature that means absolutely nothing? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Surely men of a low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie, to be laid in the balance. They are altogether lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Elohim hath spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto Elohim. Also unto you, O Adonai, belongeth mercy, for you rendereth to every man according to his work.
You rendereth to every man according to his work. Your works are your deeds. You shall receive the wages of your work. So if that work be evil, you shall be paid with evil pay. So I tell people, do whatever you got to do. Feel as justified as you feel like you want to feel. Just understand, you're going to get paid for that work. One way or another, you're going to get paid for it. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 19.
Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 1. Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool. Also, that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good, and he that hasteth with his feet sinneth. The foolishness of a man perverteth his way, and his heart fretteth against Yahweh. Wealth maketh many friends, but the poor is separated from his neighbor. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. Many will entreat the favor of the prince, and every man is a friend to him that giveth gifts. All the brethren of the poor do hate him. How much more does his friends go far from him? He pursueth them with words, yet they are wanting to him. He that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul. He that keepeth understanding shall find good. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. Delight is not seemly for a fool, much less for a servant to have rule over princes. The discretion of a man defereth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression.
The discretion of a man defers his anger. Everybody gets angry. It says, be you angry, but sin not. And what we allow to do is our anger pushes us sometime and goes far. We all get to that point sometime. But you have to be careful on how far you allow anger to push you. Go ahead.
Verse 12. The king's anger is as the roaring of a lion, but his favor is as dew upon the grass. A foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping. House and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from Yahweh. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. He that keepeth the commandment keepeth his own soul, but he that despiseth his ways shall die. He that has pity upon the poor lendeth unto Yahweh, and that which he has given will he pay him again. Chasten your son while there is hope, and let not your soul spare for his crying.
Right. Part of the things that we go through in learning this word, is that as it is written, you raise up a child in the way that he shall go, and when he get grown, he shall not depart. Well, the only problem with that is we learn the ways of the adversary, not knowing that we were learning the ways of the adversary. So now those ways are stuck into our mental, and we have to be born again. That is the purpose of this born again. To be born again, you have that physical part of that baptism, but the spiritual part of that being born again takes quite some time, because you have to relearn those things that you thought you already knew. And knowing that we are creatures of habit, there are certain things that we just do because we're used to doing them. And then we fight and kick against everything new that speaks differently. And that's how Lucifer uses us. He wants to be the first one to get to you. You ever know the liar get to you quick? Hey, let me talk to you. Hey, let me talk to you. No, I need to talk to you right now. No, right now. Why? He got to get that lie to you first, so that you will have some kind of loyalty to that lie. So by the time you hear the truth, you looking at it like, I don't know about that, Select. I don't know about that right there. That don't sound right. Especially after you done heard the lie 4 or 5 times. You done heard that lie 4 or 5 times. Now you believe that lie actually has some weight. And it's just a lie that's been lied 5 times. That's all it is. It don't make it true. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 19. A man of great wrath shall suffer punishment, for if you deliver him, yet you must do it again. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that you may be wise in your latter end. There are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of Yahweh, that shall stand. The desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. The fear of Yahweh tendeth to life, and he that has it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. A slothful man hideth his hand in his bosom, and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again. Smite a scorner, and the simple will beware. And reprove one that has understanding, and he will understand knowledge.
You reprove one who has understanding, and they grow. But do understand, there's some that no matter what you say, they're not going to grow because they're hell bent on wickedness. So you're not going, there's nothing you're going to do to reach them. They are unreachable. They didn't come to be reached. They ain't trying to be reached. But if you do smite the scorner, the other people see it and they say, well, I know he ain't going to learn, but I know what I learned. I ain't going to do that right there. See, in them places where they cut out the people's hand for stealing, they don't have a whole lot of stealing. There ain't no brother trying to steal after they see that, man, that dude got one hand. I need both of these. Yahweh gave me both of these. I plan on down with both of these. Now, once this dude get his hand cut off for stealing, that pretty much take care of that for me. I'm done. They don't have a whole bunch of stealing in them places. See, well, they got this movable law that changes depending on what you look like and what place you stole from. Yeah, we got a whole lot of stealing here. Right? They don't have that on cross seas and all them other places. Well, they turn around and beat you in the open. Well, you can actually get 39 lashes or 40 lashes publicly. Man, you don't find nobody stealing, man. They be talking, hey, man, can I borrow that, bro? Can I? Because I ain't trying to get no whooping in public. I'm a grown man, bro. I'm a grown man. It's hard to explain to your kids after you get a whooping. You know what I'm talking about? And then you trying to whoop your kid. They were like, you weren't saying that when Jane was whooping you up there. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 26. He that wasteth his father and chasteth away his mother is a son that causeth shame and bringeth reproach. Cease, my son, to hear the instruction that causeth to err from the words of knowledge. An ungodly witness scorneth judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devoureth iniquity. Judgments are prepared for scorners, and stripes for the backs of fools.
All right, that is all that we're going to do today. Let us consider these things, because a lot of times, you know, we want to have all of this understanding, this deep, dark understanding of all of these things that are written in this book. But a lot of times we have to get back into the very things that cause us to be ejected out of the land. And that is walking in the righteousness of this law. Yahweh did not give us a land until he gave us a law. You cannot have a kingdom without something to govern the kingdom. You can't govern a kingdom based on what you like and dislike. There has to be a code in how you are going to walk. And we are on the bottom of this pole here. And we see it. Every time you turn around, there's a new video of us getting shot in the back or something like that. When you talk about us being able to rule our own land, we will have to have a righteous law. And you've always had it before you. We just didn't know it. Well, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.